Ta-da. Good morning. Welcome to my word for the day. I'm almost there. Okay, I'm Lee Watson. Hi. And I'm a business advisor, small businesses mostly. And I'm also an entrepreneur and an adventurer and a guy who really likes good thoughts and words. I have a story for you today. The title here is The Best Intentions, or something much like that. And I had an experience today. And I'll just tell you about it. So last night, I made sure that I got to bed early because I had an adventure coming up this morning. It was destined to be a great adventure, sort of. Anyway, got to bed early, got up early, uh, drove to the harbor in Michigan City, got there early. It was a beautiful day, windy. There's a north wind. And in this part of the world, at the southern tip of Lake Michigan, when there's a north wind, there's usually pretty good sized waves out there. And by the time I got there, they were a little over 2 feet, between 2 and 3 feet. The wind was gusting up to a little over 20 knots. And I was there for a sailboat race. Sailboat racing is one of the things that I do for adventure. Well, I met my sailing partner for the day, and we chatted for a bit. We looked at the weather forecast, what's happening, what's it going to be like. And we went to the boat. We checked things out. Boat seemed fine. And of course, it was just going to be the two of us in a race that was scheduled. This was actually the first race of the season. And, obviously we're excited about the race. So everything seemed to be in order. And, well, turned out that some things weren't quite in order. So we made a call to another boat because turns out we weren't going to be able to sail on the boat that we hoped to sail on. And so we made a call, left a message for a friend of ours and sailor to see if we could go sailing with them. Actually, I think that they were expecting a call. Well, we had to leave a message. Anyway, now we're about 15 minutes before the skipper's meeting. So time's running a bit short. And we don't have a boat to race. My boat's still on the hard, not ready for racing yet. And Mike's boat is good and it's in pretty good shape. But there was a couple of things that weren't quite ideal. Well, skipper's meeting gets here, and only a handful of people show up, which is unusual, especially for the first race of the season. But the people who were there were pretty optimistic about a beautiful day on the lake. Yes, it's a little choppy with 2 to 3 foot waves. The wind is gusting up a little over 20 knots, which means for most small sailboats, up to 40, 50 feet, you pretty much have to shorten the sails, which is called reefing the sails. Okay, no problem. By the time the skipper's meeting was over and the course was decided, there were only, I think, 3 or 4 boats willing to go out. And a crew was short. The wind and the waves was exciting. But with only a few boats to go, and finally, the boat that we had hoped to sail on, the captain and other crew did not make it to the harbor in time. Of course, it's kind of hard to have a sailboat race or be in a sailboat race if you don't get to the starting line on time, because the starting line is a crucial part of racing a sailboat. So bottom line is we didn't get to race, and I decided to come home and do stuff around the house, which was my number 2 thing to do today, and that's okay. So the thing is, when that happens, what does it mean? How do you respond? Well, the way I looked at it, I got to see some sailors that I hadn't seen since last year, got to see the boats in the harbor. It was pretty nice to see other people that I used to race against on Lake Michigan. There was all kinds of good things about this. It was really a beautiful day, a windy day, which is generally good for sailboat racers. It's not good for that pleasure cruise so much, but for sailboat races, it's a pretty good day. So what happens when things like that happen? Well, there could be a little disappointment at first, but then, we think about it and we're thankful that we can do things like be in a sailboat race. If you've never seen or experienced a sailboat race, they can be very exciting and they can be infuriating if there's no wind. These boats don't go if there's no wind. So you just never know what you're going to get. So we ended up being thankful. We decided that, hey, we're going to go home and do the other things on our list. So what do you do? Now, what I thought about, and I don't know if my mind just naturally goes to this or not, but I thought about, what do I do when I have disappointments or unexpected things happen in business? And I decided that it's very similar reaction. There may be some little disappointment at first, but then you're looking for solutions. You're looking for plan B. You're looking for what I can do to avoid this in the future if possible. And sometimes unusual, unexpected experiences aren't avoidable. And that's okay, as long as we have a good attitude. We approach the situation with a plan B or C or D or whatever it takes, and we move on and we live our lives in hopes that we can have those adventures. Now, speaking of adventures, I introduce myself as a business advisor and an entrepreneur and an adventurer. Those are 3 big things in my life, and I'm super thankful for that. I also know that some people have a very small comfort zone. They do their routine every day, and the adventure part of them may be, I adventure out to have lunch with a friend of mine or something like that. Or at the other end of the spectrum, there are people I know who have giant comfort zones, and they do amazing adventures, things that I've never done. I've done a lot of things. I've been to a lot of places, but I have never climbed a major mountain. Don't really want to. And so there are some really big adventures that are outside of my comfort zone. But, an adventure is an adventure, whatever it is. What happens is when we try to take a little bit new or bigger adventure, it stretches our comfort zone and it never goes back. Once your comfort zone gets stretched, it just doesn't go back, which means that the next time you have an opportunity to do a big adventure, it's going to be bigger. It could be bigger, and it will stretch your comfort zone again. Okay, if you want to talk about that, and this goes for anything in life and in business, and I would love to talk to you about it. Now, there is a contact information section down here, this little banner that's going on. It says go to businessbeyondnumbers.com/contact and request a time to have a chat. It's a free call. It's 15 minutes. It's usually on Zoom, sometimes over the phone, but occasionally in person, which is cool. That's a geographic challenge for some people, though. Unless you want to fly to Chicago, um, Zoom or phone is the best way to handle that. Anyway, if you want to talk about adventures or business or anything that I know about, because I choose not to talk about things that I don't know anything about. Excuse me. And there are definitely some things that I don't know much about. So if you want to talk about small business or adventures or anything that you think I might be interested in, book a call and let's talk about it. Okay, now I want to thank all the people who watch this show. People who leave the little thumbs ups and the hearts and the comments. Love the comments. Whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay, thank you. Thank you for doing that. I also want to thank all the sponsors, like Tomfoolery. Sponsors, even if they do nothing more than send us some good thoughts from time to time, it's wonderful to have people who think that what it is that we do has some value. And I believe that it does. I mean, today we're talking about best intentions that sometimes don't quite go quite right, but that happens. And so I'm talking about it because that was my experience this morning. I hope you enjoyed that. I went a little over time, so I'll leave you with a reminder, as I always do. Do something really good or nice for somebody else today. And if you have the resources, do something really good or nice for a whole bunch of people. I know some of you who do these kind of things, and it's wonderful to see. Thank you for that. Be that light in your world. Be that source of hope and peace and love and joy and cooperation and everything good. Because in this world, which can be very dark and challenging, we need lights. We need individuals who are willing to stand up and say, hey, life is good and I want to be part of the solution. I want to help other people. I want to do the right things. And for me, I thank God every day for my ability and willingness to do good things. I don't always do good things, by the way. I am just like everybody else in that I make mistakes. I make at least my fair share of mistakes. But I don't let that turn into a death spiral of just bad thoughts. If I make a mistake, hopefully I'll learn from it or I'll recover from it in some way. I hope you do too. And that's another thing you might want to talk about. How do you handle disappointment? So I'd be happy to talk about that. Okay, I wish you a wonderful day. And remember, it is your responsibility and my responsibility to make this the best day that we can make it. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.